Hello, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I'm here today for my weekly class, calling it Just a Little Ink's free card making class, and it's live on Facebook. It's also being recorded so that it can be posted on my YouTube page, justalittle.ink.com. Actually, YouTube//JustALittleInk. You can also find all the directions and in other pictures and photos and stuff on my blog, justalittle.ink.com. I'm going to go ahead and pull over the camera to the hand screen and just kind of share. This is a project I got inspired by a card idea that's on the Stampin' Up website. If you're in the online store and you're looking at the last chance category products, this is the Forever Forest die set. I do believe that the stamp set that coordinates with this has already sold out, but the die set was still available yesterday. But I really kind of liked how they had done this card design, and so I am taking my own tweak on it and making it using the Textured Notes suite of products. And I'm not using all of them, I am using parts of it. So I am using the Textured Notes stamp set. I keep mine in cases that have the magnetic sheets in here for my die set. This die set is so universal, so we're going to use that as well. It is a red rubber stamp. It coordinates with the neutral matte dots. I am not using the white ribbon. It is pretty, kind of almost a linen kind of ribbon. I am going to be using the mini corrugated 3D embossing folder, something I'm hoping that we get to keep around a long time. Then there were 2 packages of designer series papers that coordinate with this suite of products. The one I'm going to be using is Botanical Textures designer series paper, but it also has the woven textures, and there's all kinds of different weaves and multiple pages of this particular paper. So, but I really like the monochromatic look, and so I'm going to pull the things I'm not using and kind of get them out of the way and get busy with the things that we are going to use. So this is a fun fold, and I'm not really sure what I want to call it. Maybe a trifold. To a degree it's trifold, so I don't know, you'll figure that part out. I'm going to put this up and kind of out of the way a little bit. So what you'll need a half a sheet of basic black cardstock, 8.5, 5.5. You're going to squirt in the middle at at 4 1/4. You're going to fold it over and use your bone folder to get a nice crisp fold. Then you're going to kind of set that aside. You're also going to want a piece of basic white, and you're going to want it to be 8 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and you're going to score it at 4 inches along that 8-inch line. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, fold it in half, use my bone folder. Then you need a piece of that designer series paper. You could choose whichever one you wanted. I'm going to have this piece showing, and so it is cut at 5 1/4 by 4, and it's going to fit on the front of my card. And then I've got a couple other pieces of basic black. One's 3.5 by 3, and I've already run it through the corrugated embossing folder. And then you just need a scrap piece of basic white. I suggest that it's 4.5 by 3 1/4, but you could use multiple pieces. And so we're going to pull out the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm going to pull out a die from the Textured Notes, and I do believe I want this one. It won't really matter, it's more for the shape. This detail, you can set that piece aside. We're not going to use that. So I'm going to line it up on my card front. I'm going to grab a little piece of Post-it tape just so that I can kind of secure it on my plate when I get ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is I want about, I don't know, maybe 3/8 of an inch or so of a reveal on the top and on the side. So I'm gonna just put a little piece of Post-it tape, and then I'm gonna set this over and grab that Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And because I'm pulling through a big piece, I do need the big machine. A small machine will not do card fronts. And so I'm gonna pull it in, have it lined up here, make sure nothing has shifted on me. I don't believe it has. And just run it through. We're going to have one other piece that we will end up using the machine for. Hold it in the center. It keeps everything from kind of going crazy on us. Okay, set it out of the way. And again, this piece that we cut out, we're not going to need, but you'll want to use that at a future time, because this this bundle is just a really neat bundle, and I'm pretty sure you'll find a use for that. So this piece we won't use. You see where it's got the texture on it. So I'm just going to set it out of the way. What we're left with is just an opening in the front of our card. So I'm going to go ahead and refold it because I kind of pressed it a little bit when I ran it through. If you're joining me here, I appreciate if you just let me know that you're on. And I can acknowledge you. I do appreciate those who already follow my Facebook page and those who have already subscribed to my YouTube channel. I do appreciate all of your comments. I love hearing what you think. I love to see your projects if you make them. That makes me happy too. I think I got a little crooked here. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take this inner piece. You might be figuring this out, that this is where we're going. I'm going to go ahead and attach my designer series paper on the front of this. And so I'm just going to use some of my multi-purpose liquid glue. Put a bead around 1/4 of an inch or so away from the edge, as it will spread. It's a pretty quick card. Then there's not really any right top and down, top bottom. So just line it up on the front. Make sure that we're straight and press. Nice thing about multi-purpose liquid glue, if you get it on your fingers, you can just rub it and it'll roll off. And then I want to do the exact same thing so that it's getting attached on the back. So I'm going to come through here. And I did that because I didn't want to stamp or cover up the paper. I want it to show on through that window. And I honestly don't know if that's what Stampin' Up! Designers had done with this card idea I'm taking, or if that was just a card front, but I liked this idea. So you'll have to let me know what you think, and if you've made one like this, maybe you have. So this is the base. So now I've got it closed, and then I can open it up and then stamp and have my greeting. Gives me a lot of room to write. But then we're going to work on designing the front. And so told you I already had the corrugated, the mini corrugated folder. And I'm just going to punch a 2 3/8 inch circle out of that. I'll have a little extra for some other project. And then we're going to do some stamping. So I'm going to pull out my stamp set. let's see, I'm going to start with this piece because I want to use this You're Seriously the Best. And I'm going to stamp things in both basic gray and smoky slate. So I'm going to pull out my basic gray stamp pad. So I'm making a monochromatic card. So get this up in the screen. And I want to have enough room, so I'm going to use a skinny, long, stitched die to cut this out. And grab my chamois. It's the chamois that goes with the glass mat. So then I have that cleaned, put that away, and then I also want, in that same color, I'm going to want to stamp the kind of open leaves. Make sure I'm inked well, looks like it. And I'm going to come up at the corner here, get a nice firm inking. Again, I want to clean that up. Put that away. It's a good idea to keep your stamps clean. And then I'm going to put this ink away for now. We will do some stamping on the inside, but I want to pull out basic gray, or not basic gray, smoky slate. We just put away basic gray. And I'm going to grab this basket round, and I'm going to ink it in smoky slate. And put it over on this edge. What I really wanted was a punch or a die that was the same dimensions, and we do have one, but it has not been available just yet. Pretty sure that the 1 7/8 inch circle punch that's in our new annual catalog would fit really well to punch this out, but I'm going to use the 2 inch, which will leave a little bit of an edge, but I think it's going to work well. So put that away, and we'll go ahead and take care of a couple of these things. Hopefully not too close. Okay, so I've got that ready. Be tight because I wasn't thinking for my greeting, so we'll see how well we do. I'm going to grab out those pieces of Post-it tape and see how well we can get this on here. So do I have it lined up pretty straight? Looks like. Okay, and we're going to run it through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Pardon the wiggles and the creaks and the cracks. Kind of just how this works. Okay. So then, ink, we're not doing too bad. And then the last thing, yeah, we were close, but I think we did okay. The last thing I'm going to do is fussy cut, and I know that a lot of people don't like fussy cutting, but it really makes all the difference with this leaf grouping. And so we've got all our pieces kind of ready. So let me see how quickly I can kind of cut around this in front of you. I sometimes will do stuff ahead of time. I want a little bit of an edge, and so I'm just cutting, leaving a slight 1/16 of an inch or so reveal around the edge. So, and I'll come back in and tighten up a little of this. Come around. excess out of the way. Sometimes I find it's easier to fussy cut if you don't have a lot of things kind of in the way. And I'm not worried about getting super close to the stem on this one, because all the idea is, we're covering up parts of it anyway. The idea is to get a wispy kind of feel. So I'm gonna come up. And if you'll move, one of my club ladies years ago now, who does quite a bit of fussy cutting, give me some tips, and she said if you will move the scissors up and down to open it up and close it, and move your paper with your other hand, whichever is your less dominant hand, you will get a better cut of fussy cutting. And hopefully those who are experts at this, I don't refer to myself as an expert on fussy cutting, but if you are, you can tell me if that's true or not. But I do find it makes it easier. So I just want to kind of come along here like so. And then I want to come in to get just a little bit right here. So I don't want quite that much in the center there. But you could cut away as much or as little as you want. So that's all we're doing for this. And then it's a matter of assembly. So I'm going to attach my corrugated circle first. And I'm going to put my corrugated circle kind of up along the edge. And so I'm just putting a little bit of glue along here. And so what I want to do is grab my multi-purpose liquid glue, put a little bead of it on the edge, keep it straight, unless you don't want it that way, but I want mine a little straight. So I'm going to come and I'm going to press just a second and it'll hold that down. Then I want to attach my basket circle, and that one I'm going to make sure is coming in kind of over in this direction. So I'm going to attach a little here and a little at the base. So I'm going to put a little glue here and then a little glue here, so that I have enough kind of coming in here. So we start to kind of close in that opening. Then I'm going to take and glue in my leaves. And so what I want to do is not put any into the center portion, only have some glue up at the top and then just here at the base. So again, I'm going to pull it out, put just a little bit of glue here, and then some along the center. And put it on so that we get like so. And then I don't have glue back here because the whole goal is I don't want any of this sticking to the front. So get this here. And then I'm going to use a couple dimensionals. And what I found worked really well was to actually use minis. You could use the full size, but what I found worked real well was to use the Stampin' the mini dimensionals, because I want to make sure I'm not too far up on this one. And then I'm going to put one right in the middle. Okay, so kind of put one that's hanging here lower, just so that I don't have, I'll clean those up later. And then I put this on the front. It kind of overlaps. Make sure I'm straight, like so. Then I'm clear of the back. And then I have the ability to stamp something on the inside. And what I liked was using the other leaves that are in this set. I'll pull the set back up here so you can kind of see. I'm going to use this one here. And I'm going to use basic gray again. And so I'm just going to put one section here. And whoops, I put it away and I'm not ready to put it away. I'm also going to grab the thank you. You could make this card. I think You're Seriously the Best would even make a great birthday greeting. But I'm going to go ahead and just use what are in this set. Line up, make sure I'm fairly straight. The greetings that are a little more cursive font give you a little more freedom. So I'm going to ink here. Hopefully we're straight. And then I can have a whole section over here if I want to have my greeting. And then to finish it all off, I'm going to pull out some of those dots, and I'm going to use the white ones, which I often don't use, but isn't that pretty? So I'm going to go ahead and grab those out. And I'm just going to use 3 of them. Pull out my Take Your Pick tool and the putty tip. It is my preferred method. And I'm going to put one, I think I'll come over here. And then I'll use some of those smaller white ones. One up. I kind of like 3s. You could do them in whatever groupings you'd prefer. Get this where it sticks where I want. And I'm going to stick one over here. You could put it wherever you'd like, but I kind of liked that pattern. And so there is my finished Textured Notes fun fold. Fairly fun and fairly simple. And that kind of goes pretty well with this. So thanks again for joining me. I'll be back again next Thursday. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, and hopefully you get a lot of stamping in. And if you like this video, I'd appreciate your liking and sharing it and your comments. And again, I'll see you again next week. Happy stamping.